Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through.
What's going on, you guys? Before we dive into this review, I gotta ask ya, what's your favorite Eddie Murphy movie? I gotta go with this one, Coming to America. Not the second one, but the first one that came out in the late 80s, guys. Man, Coming to America is one of my favorite movies ever. And it's one of my family's favorite movies too, so this sits with me anyway. I mean, regardless of what I tell you here, I still enjoyed it. But let's dive into this review for Coming to America, you guys. So let's start out with what works. Now, what works in this movie is the return characters and the new characters. They literally bring back everybody. Everybody, like literally anybody that you thought was important or memorable from the first one, they bring them back. John Amos is back as Mr. McDowell. Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, of course, they're back as all of their characters. There's so many different cameos in this movie. James Earl Jones is back, Sherry Headley, Paul Bates, everyone. Like, I'm literally just looking over the cast list now of the original, and I'm like, they really brought all these people back. There might be like one or two people off that cast list that don't make it back, but just about everybody makes it back, guys. It is such a cool idea to bring these things back into a sequel that you're going to do so much later and bring back so many different nuances. The barbershop, as you've seen in the trailer. I don't want to spoil too much though, because I do want some things to be a surprise, but just about everything that's memorable about this movie is back, and the nostalgia factor works very well here, and that's another thing that I will say works really well. There is a lot of nostalgia for that first one that they bring back in. I mean, King even has his same outfit from the first movie when he goes to Queens. So that is such a great nuance to add to this movie. But going back to the cast, you've got some new characters. You've got Jermaine Fowler, who's Lavelle, aka Hakeem's son. You've got Leslie Jones, who's Lavelle's mother. And Tracy Morgan plays Lavelle's uncle. There's just a slew of new cast members. Also new to the cast is Wesley Snipes, who plays a village chief of a separate village from Zamunda in the same country. There are a lot of new characters and new actors brought into the fold that work well with the actors that have returned. I liked Kiki Lane as Mika. I'm really liking her in a lot of things lately, so I liked seeing her face again. She has some range that she's really displayed. I mean, she was very different from her old guard character, so I like bringing her into this cast of characters. Another thing that worked was the theme of cultures colliding, and this really brought together the culture of Queens, New York, and of Zamunda, and it plays out in an interesting way. I don't want to spoil because I really want you to enjoy the story and see it. I really like those qualities about it. Now let's get into what doesn't quite work. Now, what doesn't work is the fact that this movie is not R-rated, and it takes away from some of the things. The jokes don't hit as hard. Unfortunately, some of the scenes with some characters that were very raunchy in the first movie aren't as raunchy, and it just doesn't work. There's also some interactions that happen between Hakeem and Simi that I really think could have been stronger and funnier had they not had that PG-13 limitation. I think that some things and some punchlines in that first one really worked well because they were just so vulgar and raunchy, and it just doesn't quite work in a PG-13 setting. And unfortunately, I think where this comes up short is sometimes it feels a little bit like a spoof of the first movie. It's so goofy and over the top that sometimes it really takes you out of the movie and makes you wonder, like, what the heck am I watching, man? Like, is this a spoof of Coming to America? Because it is, everybody is so much older. You know, this is so much later than the first film. But I will say, Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, and Sherry Headley all look really good for their age. They look like they barely aged for a day. You know, black don't crack, and that was the truth in this movie. I mean, y'all, they look good. But what I'm trying to say is some of the things that work so well in Coming to America just don't work in Coming to America. I wish they would have just went with Coming to America too, y'all. That would have made it so much easier to actually film this review if it was just Coming to America 2. But I just really think that some of the things that worked so well in that first one just don't work in this one that well. Character interactions are a little hazy just because of, like I said, the R rating. And some of the things are just so over the top that it's like, okay, come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? But I really do think that this is a fun movie, and I think I think it'll be a better movie for people who grew up really enjoying Coming to America a lot and who this isn't their first outing to Coming to America, the 1988 version, because I know a lot of people have seen this for the first time because of this sequel. And I think those of us who have seen that movie over and over and over and over will enjoy this sequel. I think for people who maybe have just seen the first Coming to America or who aren't as familiar with that film might not like the sequel that much. They may feel like it's just a watered down version of that first one and it's just too similar, but also that R rating really doesn't help it. I think this movie is funny. I think it's fun, but I think some of the jokes don't land, some of the things don't work, and I just think that when you revisit something 30 years later, it just really takes away from the strong storytelling in the first. So if I had to give Coming to America a rating, Coming to America, Coming to America 2, Coming to America, I would give Coming to America a 7 out of 10. And I'm actually giving it a pretty high rating because I really like that first one. And that first one to me is an 8.5 out of 10. But I really like that first one so much. And it means so much to me and my family that I think I could enjoy this second one for the reasons I said, for the nostalgia, for bringing the characters back, for really bringing in these new characters and integrating them well with the returning characters. I like those qualities so much that for me it makes this a 7. I wish I could give it a higher rating, but unfortunately things take away from it, like not being able to return to certain jokes, that R rating being very limiting, and this kind of almost feeling like a spoof and just maybe too over the top at times. But guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Are you gonna go see Coming to America? It comes out on Amazon Prime this Friday, March 5th. So guys, I am very excited to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and we'll see you next time on Geekly Goods.